Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before I would like to start my presentation, I would like to ask you one question. If we replace every plank on a ship, would it still be the same ship? Most would say yes, but Carl Jung begs to differ. And welcome everyone to my presentation on the book The Undiscovered Self, written by Carl Jung. Firstly, before I would like to officially start, I would like to define some of the terms in his book. The first one would be the unconscious, a vast, dynamic, and largely inaccessible part of the human psyche that influences our behavior, emotion, and life experience. Secondly, would be the mass man phenomenon, a phenomenon defined by Carl Jung, where a group of individuals were raised, educated, and culturally indoctrinated in the same way, making them lose moral ethics to themselves, to the state, and to everyone around them. Thirdly, would be the statistical truth, but defined by Carl Jung as a way to understand the world through data, statistics, and means, not to unique individual cases. Now I would like to start with a chapter inside of the book called Religion versus Creed, where Carl Jung point out that religion is the relationship to God and individualism through Muslim, Judaism, and Christianity, and the salvation and liberty from Buddhism. And then you have the creed, where it is a confession of faith, a fake faith made solely to fill in the gaps for worldly affairs. Now coming to my first example, I would like to point out a figure that stands for religion. It's a priest named Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a priest under the reign of the Nazis, where he said that the state should exist outside and that God should exist above and beyond the state, and it stands against the statistical truth of the time where the Nazis tried to indoctrinate the ideology inside of the church, and even though the priest knew full well that he could be killed for standing up. And then secondly, we have a case where there's one individual. He stopped and he thinks that he is not defined by his title, his grade. He is defined by himself, his individual cases. Why should he say yes to the state and say yes to the school would want him to commit his excellency, his abilities toward them without giving anything back? And secondly, we have the state or the corporate, which represent through their fake faith that they say that they would give you something back, a confession they say that they would fulfill your life through one way or another, but in truth they wouldn't give you anything back. Thirdly, would be an individual in our world day to day, where he sit down and he think toward himself. He didn't fully and blindly follow the hashtag on social media, doesn't come out of the street and start a riot just because he didn't get the full picture. And secondly, we have the creed, which is represented by the hashtag, the people who riot on the street. They don't do it out of a deep fear for the injustice, the desire to do the right thing to bring justice for those that have been wronged, but rather it is a confession of faith, the statistical truth of the time. They want to be right, the desire to be right inside of them, and they stated that, oh, look at me, I am belong in the right mass at the right time. Now coming toward my expansion, I would like to touch on the book The Burnout Society of Jung, written by Jung Han. So Jung Han is a prominent philosopher, writer, and German theorist. So now coming back to Carl Jung book, he said that we are oppressed by a fake faith and we are forced to say no toward the things by the state and the boss being unreachable and untouchable. However, in Jung Han's book, he stated that we are oppressed by a yes. We are stated that we are freer than ever. We can do anything, be anyone. We should rather optimize every aspect in our life. However, Jung Han also raised a concern that because we are free to do anything and can say yes to almost anyone and anywho, he said that we set a standard of success for ourselves. We exploit ourselves more ruthlessly and more terrifyingly than any dictator, boss, or state could. We chase the fame, the money, and the desire to be right, to be viewed as successful. And thank you for listening.